listening to Radio DePaul. Awarded Best Station in the Nation 2020.
Apologies, everybody. Oh, wow. It's 12:09 and I'm supposed to be here about 9 minutes ago. Super sorry, guys, but it's okay. I'm not sure if anyone comes in after me, so we might have a couple extra minutes to pass over. So, how are you guys? I hope this last week of school is really doing you a service of relief. It might be a situation where you are really stressed out because finals, this is finals week, but it's fine. After Sunday, everything like that, hopefully all of your things will be done, and then we are on break for the summer. So unfortunately, this is the last episode for this quarter, but we are coming back. We are coming back next quarter with so many new ideas and new stories to tell. It will still be the Lore Love Tales, but we just won't be meeting every Tuesday. So I hope you guys had a good chunk of knowledge that you wanted to find from me as well. This has been really fun. I've gotten acquainted to doing radio, and even better, I have some news. I have been offered the job of the producer of the Radio DePaul podcast. So that's really fun. I am really excited about getting into that role and seeing what that looks like for me. And don't worry, I'll still be doing the Lore Love Tales. It might be the same day. We don't really know for sure, but it will still be happening weekly. And then you will have some Radio DePaul podcast things, and it'll sound familiar because I'm going to be working alongside it. I'm super excited. So, since this is the last week, we're going to keep it simple. There was a reason why there were so many topics that I wanted to talk about within the entirety of this show. For us meeting so shortly, but this is going to be, again, we're going to be meeting back. I wanted to add a little bit of my personality and a little bit of storytelling. But lastly, I just wanted to hopefully add a lot of information that maybe you hadn't thought about in your lives of being a storyteller. A couple weeks ago, we talked about being your best creative self and a couple of ways of how you can do that. Then we talked about having shows that we consistently watch and why we watch those things so much and what do we gain from watching them so much. I talked about Severance for the first episode, and then I talked about superheroes and the ethics and the morality of them all. And I talked about Steven Universe, which is one of my favorite things. So it's a mixture of everything, and that's what I like to do. I of course, I like to make it personal, but I also want to make it a little personable, if that makes sense. So this week, we're just going to be talking about how you can be a storyteller over the summer. I asked a lot of people what they plan on doing for the summer. A good chunk of them, I think a few responded, and I will read those. And even though the polls will be, not as lively anymore because we're breaking for the summer, I will say you could still follow me so that you can follow all of the content that I will be posting on my YouTube channel, which is Tren Universe, TREN Universe. But if you want to follow my Instagram as well, I'll also be tagging these at the end of this hour. Again, it is, sorry. I went to Instagram and I should have turned off my volume. But my Instagram is Tren, TREN _MONAE. And you can follow all of my weird conversations that I have, and then the polls and everything like that. So, summer bucket list for some people. I'll read a couple. Some people want to watch everything on their watch list. That's super real. Go to the beach, a road trip, a waterfall, a rave. I'm not really sure if I'll ever go to a rave because I think a rave is just like really self-explanatory. And someone said to learn how to swim, which again, I understand that. I was taught how to swim multiple times. And then I was taught how to swim, was it last year? Yeah, I think I can still retain some of the things that I learned. I think so. It's just this happens every time. I get taught how to swim at the end of the summer. And then all of a sudden I just don't keep the same things. Cause when you start learning how to swim, you get a little bit in your head. But once you start getting more exposure into the water and you just start swimming and all that stuff, it just comes, it's like second nature. But I like went to a couple of pool parties last year, and then I learned how to swim. You know what I mean? So it was funny. I went to one and I tried to figure out, like, swimming still, but I digress. We'll see this summer. We'll see. Since summer is upon us, it's a little muggy out there. It's like about 79 degrees. The reason why I am late, though, I do have to mention that, is because, granted, I'm a commuter. It's a bit of a drive to get here. Not a terrible drive, but, longer than 30 minutes. Way longer than 30 minutes. But I will say I had to pee. And the thing is, though, I was perfectly fine for the first 50 minutes. Yes, 50 minutes. But for some reason, within the 10 minutes left that I had in my commute and my traveling, it's like all of a sudden my body was like, oh my gosh, you have to pee. Like, you have to go, like, right now. And I was like, well, this was no warning, nothing. If I had knew, like I should have gone before I went, or like before I left home. And now I'm going to continue to do that, because just because your bladder may be okay for 50 minutes doesn't mean it will be in the next 10 minutes, apparently. So I parked and I ran to the closest bathroom I possibly could and just came back, and I walked up here, and now we're here. So yes. Yes. It's all over the place, and that's perfectly fine. We're just going to end strong here, though. As far as making the best storyteller of your summer, or storytelling of the summer, I really advise people to truly go out of their comfort zone. As far as the summer bucket list, I am going to be talking about what's on my summer bucket list and all that jazz, my book list, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be nice and chill and awesome. So, but we got to get to business first. As far as your summer bucket list and what you plan on doing in the summer, of course, relax. The very first thing that you always have to remember when you're taking the summer, take advantage of the summer, take advantage of the weather. I feel like the cold months have been winter has been wintering for a very long time, and it just felt like winter had lasted for over the amount that it's supposed to. I feel like winter was just way longer than 3 months. You know what I mean? It's just been bitter and cold for a while, and we just need some sun. And this was the first time in several months this morning that I went out, and what I usually do, especially in warmer seasons, I go outside with a cup of tea. Like, it's funny, it's like counterintuitive. I go outside and it's hot with a hot cup of mug of tea. It's how I ground myself. Okay, I went out with my tea and my yogurt and oats, and I just listen to music. Most times it's classical music to start off my day, but if anything, it's just something calm. It's something soft, maybe a little lo-fi, and then I just kind of breathe in the day. And I want to center how I feel about that day for the rest of the day. So I feel like a nice morning routine in the summer is the best thing. Whatever that looks like to you is what it looks like to you. I just think, honestly, you should have maybe about an hour time amount of, like, what people say about working out, at least in like 60 minutes of exercise a day. That's true too. But I would also say you should go outside for about an hour a day, whatever that looks like. Well, I'm not going to say go outside and then be on your phone for an hour. No. But go outside and go and walk. Listen to music, read a book, paint, do something. I think, honestly, for several years, we'll get into this point of our lives where we're comfortable with doing what we do every day. But creativity really thrives from doing something you're not really used to. You may find a little bit of you might find yourself stunted for a while after doing something, the same thing over and over and over again. And that's something that's hard to break that habit. Because once you're comfortable, you feel like, okay, there's nothing to change. There's nothing to fix. So what's the point of it? But to find something that you truly want to exercise your brain with, that's the most important thing. I feel like when I find myself doing the same thing every day, or doing the same kind of exercise or the same type of hobby every day, of course I'm still gonna love it as the day I did before. But somehow, I don't know if this, I'm sure a lot of people feel this way. Sometimes I think about, okay, what if I could be doing something else? What's something else I could be doing? And I feel like maybe that's just a little part of you that wants to explore something else. That's your creative mind talking. I think, okay, a couple weeks ago, when I was talking about my syllabus with Leonardo da Vinci and how I love Leonardo da Vinci and getting into his mind and stuff like that, I said something under the lines of, I'm not sure where in your brain is the part of creativity. I think, and it's funny because I still haven't looked it up, but my guess is, I think it's the medulla oblongata. I think that's what it is. I think that's the part of the brain. We're going to look it up right now and see. The part of your brain where, the part of your brain that controls creativity. Let's say that. Thinking and creating. Okay, let's go with that. It's the frontal lobe. Wait, so what does the medulla oblongata do? Hold on. Now I'm curious. The medulla oblongata, also known as the medulla, is the lowest part of the brainstem located just above the spinal cord. It acts as a crucial relay station of the nerve signals traveling between the brain. It's responsible for regulating vital autonomic functions like heart rate. Oh, whoops, I was completely off. I think I like how the word like bounces off. I think it's medulla oblongata. It's funny. What song is that? What song does Kanye say that in? I don't know what it is. Oh, it's a song that he sings with Kid Cudi. It's not By Design. It's Make Her Say. Make Her Say. Yes, it is. Okay. Sorry about that. I just had to figure that out. Your frontal lobe is functioning for the creativity and thinking of all of that. Yeah, but what I want to exercise, I want to challenge myself, especially this summer, are new things. I play the trombone, and I know I didn't talk too much about that, which is a reason, because I want to dedicate a few episodes, few Tuesday hours. I keep saying episodes. Sorry, I'm podcast born, because like I started off a podcast, so radio is still new to me. I love music. And if you watch on YouTube, I'm recording right now, you'll see I have a tattoo right here. It's my bass clef that turns into a vine and wraps around my left arm. And music has been the biggest escapism for me. And it's hitting 12 years that I've played the trombone. And I think about that a lot. And the people's faces when they see that, it's like, I don't know. It's like, one, it's very rewarding. Because a lot of people who aren't musicians, when they hear that, they're like, wow, someone's been committed to something for 12 years. That's discipline. Yeah, it is. And it's a very humbling experience, because when you're a musician, you're not good in the beginning. Like, you're not good at all. And like I mentioned before, like, you know, if you're a prodigy, that's one thing. That's a different conversation. But when you're playing a new instrument that you've never played before, the first years of that is just trying to figure out what this is. Like, what is in my hands right now? You're just getting your hands acclimated to wrapping around this metal, this brass, this mahogany, this violin, this cello. You're just trying to get yourself used to it. It's like a new shoe. You know, in the beginning, it's nice. It's a nice shoe to look at, but once you start wearing it, it's like, okay, something feels funny. Like it looks and it feels nice. The laces, everything's tied up, but I still feel a little uneasy. Like, it just feels new still. And once you start wearing it every day, now you're breaking the shoe and the shoe's broken, and then about a year and a half's time, now you're feeling good with it. You know, musicianship is different. I mean, you're not like the best after a year. You know, a year is a year, but a year versus 10 years, you're completely different. But the principle is still the same. You know what I mean? So what I want to do this summer, amongst many other things, is play a new instrument. I was trying to work on a new instrument several months ago actually, and it was the cello, because I have a life goal of playing all the instruments that play in bass clef. That's why the bass clef tattoo is, hence the bass clef tattoo. So the bass clef instruments include the trombone, the tuba, the cello, the timpani, the double bass, the bassoon, obviously. What else? I feel like there's something else. There's about 7, right? We're just doing a whole bunch of Googling today. How many instruments play in bass clef? I love bass clef. Something about bass. It's just, I don't know, it just really rounds the rest of the ensemble together. Double bass, cello, bass guitar, bassoon, trombone, tuba, timpani, and even the left hand on a piano. So, yes, it doesn't seem like a terrible, unachievable goal. I feel like the goal is able to attain. I feel like, of course, I'm still going to have my primary instrument being trombone, but I think I want to be still versed in the other instruments. You know how, like, you have your native language, but you're learning all the other languages, and you have conversational. You may be fluent in them, but you don't use them that much, right? So, yeah, and speaking of languages, I also want to learn languages over the summer as well. I deleted Duolingo, so I will be using other ways. And I feel like that was just like a cheap cop-out, way to learn languages. It's fun. It was very fun. Don't get me wrong. If you use Duolingo, still keep that streak. I had about 300 and something before I deleted it. But I feel like I wasn't really learning. I wanted to learn like I did when I was in school and still acclimate that to my day-to-day. Have conversations with people who are speaking these languages. You know, that helps better. And then it makes you retain more, and listening to music with people who are speaking the language that you're trying to learn. I think it that also expedites your attainment level of trying to learn this instrument. I'm excited about that. I want to paint more. We're getting into the summer bucket list, basically. I'm too excited to wait. Then we're gonna like mix and match how to maximize the best of your summer in storytelling. But the rest of my summer bucket list, I want to do watercolor paints. And there's a difference, and you're probably wondering, why not olive? Why not oil painting? Why not acrylic painting? I don't know. Watercolor painting, from what I've gotten from a couple of artists and asking them, it bleeds too much. You have to be a little bit not well-mannered. You have to be really... the amount of water intake to the pigment is very calculated, because if you use too much of the pigment, a good chunk of it will bleed, and it's like really, of course it's watercolor, so it's really watery, and I feel like that's something that I want to take on. And I've always loved the idea of watercolor painting, and when I did like color by number water paintings, well, no, paint by number, that was more so acrylic, but I feel like that's such a grounding experience, because you're really into it with the paint. I'm not saying you're not into it when you're with oil and acrylic, but when you're painting with watercolor, it's another feeling, because it's like, I don't know how to explain it, the pads for the paint itself and the amount of water, you're going back and forth and you're mixing and there's so much depth that could be made with just water. Like I really want to tackle that and see how that works for me. It might not even look good in the beginning, and that's fine. But just to say that I'm doing it, and just to say that I'm starting it, is something I'm really excited about. So I want to start off pretty simple, maybe working with color theory, maybe working with how do I add dimension, how do I add shadowings and stuff like that. I always admired how people paint something so flat but make it so deep at the same time. You know, there's depth to so many things that I see in paintings, and the way that people have this random ability to just create shadows out of nothing. I think that's really cool. So I definitely want to do something like that. I want to go to a Ren fair. I'd love to go to a Ren fair. I love medieval times. I love the Middle Ages. I love Shakespeare, stuff like that. My sister, she hates Shakespeare. I have a book called Modern ideas of Shakespeare or Shakespeare in the modern world, which it just focuses. It's a really heavily researched book about different Shakespeare themes and plays and how that plays into pop culture and all that is literally, you know, the epitome of the show. So when I finish this book, I will tell you about it. Maybe not in a time where maybe I can mix it up, because I know a lot of people don't really care for Shakespeare, but maybe I can make it more entertaining. Or maybe I could just be a YouTube video. That's fine. So many ideas are spewing. But I love the Renaissance Fair. I've never gone, but I've been seeing people go, and I would love to go. There is a webtoon that I read called, I haven't read it in a while. What is it called? Well, I finished Lore Olympus. If you read Lore Olympus, I felt so complete reading that. That was about 8 years in the making. No, like I think it was about 8 years, honestly. I think so, but for the webtoon that I'm thinking about, why can't I think about this webtoon? This is because it's the end of the year, guys. I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted. Why can't I think of it? Suitor Armor. It's got that vibe, you know, fairies and knights and mages and stuff like that, but it's nice fantasy. And the thing is, though, I don't even read fantasy. Not to say that I don't want to. I just haven't picked up a fantasy book. I have to ask some of my friends. I'm not reading the ACOTAR series, though. I'm not reading A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm not reading that. Sorry. So, what I will say, though, after the Ren Fair, I also want to go to Music in the Park. I have a concert coming up next week that I'm super excited about. Actually, two in the next 2 weeks. I play William Tell Overture, the piece that song. I love it. It's a hard song, but even still, I've been checking off all of the songs that I've ever wanted to play in a couple of years, and if I play them again, I play them again, and I play them as a more seasoned musician. And that's the thing about playing music; it just deserves to be heard over and over and over again. I played Danzon number 2, in which I played for you guys maybe about a couple of weeks ago, and what I got upset about is I thought we were going to play that again for our last concert, and I wasn't the only one. There was a lot of other people who thought that it was going to be played too. But when we asked our conductor, we were like, what about Danzon? And he goes, we can't play Danzon because we didn't pay for another performance. And I was like, what? So apparently when you buy sheet music and you buy, and of course the score that the conductor looks like, and all the parts for the entire ensemble, you have to pay for a specific license to play it in performances. And apparently there's only one performance that you can play when you buy it. And I was like, that makes 0 sense, for one, because we already have the sheet music. It's not like once we get the music, we have the sheet music and people make copies of it, and there's a score, and that's it. So what on earth? And plus, who's gonna know? Who's gonna know that we played Danzon number 2 for the second time? Are there representatives that come out and try to make sure that we don't play it like that? That doesn't make any sense. Music is deserving of being heard over and over again and deserve to be shared amongst the world. So why on earth are we limiting the amount of performances played by a beautiful piece? You know, it's stupid. I thought it was really stupid. But I digress. I also get to play in an ensemble conducted by the very music teacher that put me on to trombone. He's the reason why I'm a trombonist today. And it's a full circle moment. This is the second year that we've done this, in which he reached out to me after seeing one of my concerts, and we've just been in communication with each other for some. I think we started getting back in communication in COVID, and I reached out to him and I was like, I don't know if you remember me, because he left when I graduated 8th grade, and I was like, I don't know if you remember me, like I just want you to know that I'm still playing music, because in most cases, unless you're not a music education major or you don't plan on playing later in life, a lot of people drop the music, the instruments that they play. So I just know that it brings a lot of joy in music teachers' hearts that the students that they taught, they still play. So it lets them know that they did something, you know. I feel like that's a really beautiful thing and reaching out to teachers who've inspired you and have changed you for the better, and to let them know that they are the reason why they are changed for the better. I think it's important. So if you had a teacher like that, you should try and reach out to them. Most times, they're usually on LinkedIn. Or if they still teach at the same school that you went to, maybe just look at the faculty page and then just look at the website and their emails, and that's it. It's nothing too crazy as a quick search. You can even just search up their name and they might just show up. Nothing too crazy. Or if you want to meet them in person, maybe try and go to the school. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I gave you a couple ideas. So yeah, I get to play amongst many other pieces, Stars and Stripes Forever included. I get to play pieces from highlights from The Music Man, in which that's a musical, one of the very first musicals actually. If I don't know if you want to say Disney is musical, but theatrical musicals, you know what I mean? The Music Man was one of the first musicals that I was introduced to, and it was by Mr. Daniel. It was by my teacher. And it's so funny that we get to play that again. And if you're not familiar with The Music Man, it follows, it has the famous song 76 trombones let the big parade. I love that song because when you think about it, there's not a lot of instruments that have their own anthem. I feel really proud of being a trombonist because, or maybe you don't know 76 trombones, but I think it just depends on who you know. I think, and your age. But it's a super fun song. I love it. I love that song. I can't wait to play it. I actually listened to the recording on the way here, and when it got to 76 trombones, the trumpets were playing a good chunk of the melody, and I was like, hello, the 76 trombones, what are you talking about? But then the trombones came, and I was like, okay, this would be criminal if none of the trombones played the main melody for 76 trombones. Crazy work. But I think that's all that I have for my bucket list. I mean, it's still, sorry, I almost said it's still May. It's certainly not. We are in the 3rd day of June. But I should maybe finish the rest of my summer bucket list. Music in the park, yes, I said that. I would definitely also like to go to a beach. I think I also like to go to an art festival. Yes, an art festival. Just going out and seeing vendors of people who just make art for fun or just make art for a living, and just talking to other artists. It's like a collaboration of art. What more do you want from that? Or what more could you want? So, other than that, I will talk about how you can be the best storyteller of the summer, in your summer, and then maybe for the rest of your life. The reason why I say summer is solely because people are more prone to, people are more likely to do things because it's the summer. People are more likely to do things just because it's hot outside. And that's fair. That's real. And I will teach you how to be the best storyteller in the summer right after these messages and right after the break. I'll be right back. I am back, and we're going to talk about how you can be your best storyteller self in the summer. So it's going to be quick. It's going to be a couple of tips because I basically gave the same tips that I did a couple weeks ago. And I wanted to be a little bit more challenging to you, if that makes sense. I wanted to give you more of a challenge because not only when we're most creative self, when we're comfortable, I feel like it's important to not be comfortable but still be creative. Work with what you have. So how I'm going to explain this, I'm going to try and explain it the best way that I can. So think of it this way, right? Maybe you're someone who doesn't read, right? I have a couple of people in my life who don't like to read, and they don't really enjoy reading a book. So what I would like to challenge you to do is maybe look into a story that you would maybe possibly like to read. So if you don't like reading, but you really enjoy action, there's so many books out there that have a lot of action, have a lot of drama. Maybe look into it. If you're someone who doesn't like to read and even the size of a book is just a little overwhelming, maybe think of a smaller book. There's short stories out there for a reason, people. So I will say that that's something that you can dive into. Of course, it might not be books. It might be something else. If you don't like going out by yourself, if you don't like being alone, if you don't like different foods, if you wince at the fact, if you wince at the idea of a specific food, try those things. And granted, maybe there's not a way, that maybe there's a possibility that you don't like these things, but you can say that you tried them. And I think what we like to do a lot is when we see something we don't like, we just immediately cast it away without having to try it. And that's fair. That's understandable. But I really feel like you should, I keep saying acclimate. I feel like you should expose yourself to new things. Obviously, I think like that's a cliche. It's nothing new, nothing that you haven't heard before. But I think it's more of a reminder. I honestly feel like for me, I love going places by myself. I love to wander. That's my thing. But what I think I might challenge myself is to maybe be a little bit more social. I guess I love hanging out with my friends. I think I'm more of like a one-on-one friend hangout kind of person. When it comes to a group, I'm not against that either. But I do find myself hanging out with my friends, and it really is just like one other person. And that's it. And I think I feel like I can be more present that way. So maybe acclimating more social group things into my summer is a good thing too, because you just bounce off all of your ideas that way from people of different walks of life. You guys may be similar, but you guys have a different upbringing, possibly. Another thing is find some way to note take all of the stuff that you do. Maybe not all, but I'm just saying, I feel like it's good to look back on what you did when you were younger. So whatever that looks like, if you like to scrapbook, maybe that's a challenge too. Maybe you're someone who doesn't like taking pictures a lot. Maybe you're somebody who just doesn't really care about taking memories. Maybe this summer is a way that you can. And if at the end of the summer you have all these memories that you looked at and you're like, I could really care less, I could just remember these things and then just talk about them and write them down, that's fine too. Just at least you could say that you did. And I think you can delete them if you want, and you can recover them within the next 30 days if you feel like you changed your mind. Maybe that's a challenge too. But if it's not a challenge to you, because a lot of us do like to capture things and then post them and send them to other people, take note of that. Whatever that looks like. It doesn't have to be a picture. It doesn't have to be a video. It could be a journal. Again, that could be a new challenge. Maybe you can go out and get a new journal. It's very important to find a really good journal. If you're someone who doesn't really care, all you care about is just writing things down, that's one thing. But me personally, I feel like how a journal feels to you, it makes you feel more inclined to write in it. My journal, oh my gosh, I think the reason why I haven't been writing in it is because there's not many pages left. It's a journal that I got from Target, like several, I think, I was saying months. I was about to say, it really is a year and some change. Wow, I've had this journal for about a year, over a year. Crazy. And a lot of the journal entries have a lot of how I've been feeling since I came home. And that's a really important journal to me. And the journal is green, and it's got like, it's got indented vines on it. You know what I mean? It's not like it was printed on there. It's almost like it was stitched on there, and you can feel it's like a textured feeling on the journal. And it reminds me of my tattoo. And it fits me, and it feels like me, you know what I mean? So I use that all the time. I just write whatever I feel like I'm writing, or whatever I'm feeling. And a good feeling that I have, I want to make sure that I remember it, and I want to write it down. So in a couple months when it's wintertime and I can't really go outside as much, I can read on my journal and look at those warm memories and feel warm from those memories. That's a really fun thing to do, to be closer to the summer when summer is a little too far, you know? After that, I think it's, I think what I also wanted to say from, what's it called? Being a good storyteller is to go outside. I think it's important. I think keep your sunscreen on, go to the summer festivals, go to the Taste if you live in Chicago. The Taste. Is the Taste still going on? I haven't gone to the Taste in several years. I don't think I went to the Taste when I was in middle school, elementary school. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was elementary school, and I went with my summer camp. We went on a bus and we had a couple tickets. I just remember walking around and eating like a M burger, and I was like, now that looking at that back, I was like, M burger is just like M burger, it's a chain. So I should have tried. I didn't know. I think I was a kid at the time. I just wanted food, and we weren't in the camp that we're usually at every day. And we had a buddy, and we walk around. It was such a fun time. So try new things, make new friends. Maybe try to. I feel like it's funny for me to say that, because when it comes to making new friends, I don't mind making new friends, but I have friends. You know, if new friends arise, that's fine. It's perfectly fine. But if you're someone who has been kind of in a hole, kind of been a little introverted for these past few months, and you're kind of starting over, maybe that's the time to make new friends. You've got so many people outside now, and you're meeting all these new ideas because there are all these opportunities that people couldn't really embark on outside when it was colder. All these people who love, I don't know, AC/DC. They go to a festival and someone's wearing an AC/DC shirt, and you're like, oh my gosh, you like AC/DC? Yeah, I love it. And then there you go, boom. Maybe the friendship doesn't start that fast, but for most people it does. But still, I digress. So those are a couple things for me. So I want to say this to the day. I know it's live right now, but when you're watching this on Friday, or when you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on TikTok, I really should emphasize that taking control of the summer is your biggest thing. Rest importantly, but also keep in mind that there are new possibilities to be made from different experiences that make you uncomfortable. So do those things. Go out and go by yourself. Go outside in the park. Be safe, of course, but listen to music on your own. Take yourself to the movies. Take yourself to dinner. I don't know. Go out and do that. If you feel like you're uncomfortable, maybe that's something to like work on internally. Maybe there's something there. But there's nothing wrong with going places by yourself. And there's also nothing wrong with going with multiple people. But experiment with both. Read a new book. Find a new hobby. Dance around. I don't really dance that much, but I digress. These are all new examples I'm trying to give you. I think it's so much fun this summer. I don't know. And I think it's also, I'm biased because I'm also a summer baby. Maybe that's what it is. But I want to tell you guys about my summer bucket list, or like my summer reading list, and then I'll let you guys go. I told you guys it was going to be like a really easy Tuesday hour. I have several projects to do. I have a human evolution course that I have to take, in which I have to finish the last quiz that opens on Friday. But the project, I have to talk about a specific topic, and either I can submit it via either a podcast episode, a paper, boring, even though I do like to write, but it's like, if I get so many options, of course I'm going to do the creative one. Silly. Then I have another project for my effective communication and human resources class. And then I have, what else? A final that I have to come in for on this Saturday. Super fun and awesome. And then my journalism, intro to journalism course, I have to do a writing assignment on that, which I feel like I could probably do that today and get that done today. I'm so tired. To the DePaul people who are listening to this, please take your time, finish strong, finish. You actually, maybe not finish strong. Maybe the main thing about it is just finishing, just making sure that you're done, especially if it's just been a long year for you. When you're done, close that laptop and go outside. Go get a slushie or something. So I'll tell you about my book reading list that I want to tap into, and then I'll let you guys go study or something. So right now, I've been trying to finish Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid for a while. I still am. But I have a little book club with my friend Amaya that I've consistently this is how you know I'm tired. I can't even think of words anymore. That I'm not gonna say reference, but I don't know. I've been telling you guys about Demaya a lot. I'm so tired. It's senioritis, but I'm not even a senior yet. I'm going to be a senior next year. So I have 1 year left with you guys, and hopefully I can make some sort of difference. But we have a book club now, and we're going to be reading The Memory Police. So maybe she can come on here and we can have a conversation about that book. If you're listening, that'd be great. Maybe I'll call you later or something. I don't know. But with that, right? I have Memory Police. I really want to read some more James Baldwin. I'd really love to read more memoirs. I loved Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. I think that's how you pronounce it, I hope. What else? I really do want to read Marshmallow books, so I will finish another Emily Henry book. She's been putting in work. Every time I look around and she just made another book, you know. I really hope that Madeline Miller is getting closer to making that Persephone and Hades retelling, because she mentioned that like 3 years ago. So hopefully there's some movement. Hopefully, we'll see. That's what I want to read. What else? Honestly, when I say bucket list or like my summer, my TBR, let me see. Because usually I'll have a book that I want to read and then another book comes and I read that one. Let's see. Do I have a TBR here? Yes. Yes. I don't know which one this is from, but I have Every Summer After. Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. You know what? The best TBR is really just the pictures of books I've had. I've just taken pictures of books of like, okay, I want to read this. That makes it easier because I was actually just at the bookstore last weekend, so to get Memory Police. So the book, okay, I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. What else? Martyr by Kaveh Akbar. Parakeet by Marie Helene Bertino. The Bear, Andrew Krivak. Liars, this is another one I really want to read. Sarah Mancuso. What else? Oh, I was at work and I was cashing out a customer, and most times when people are waiting, they usually have a book on them, and this person had this huge W on their book, and I was like, hey, what are you reading? And apparently it's like it's about a woman who is like an investigator, like a spy, I think. And it said it's like a W. It's by Sue Grafton. W is for wasted. And I looked more into her books because I was like, okay, W. Then I guess she's done basically the entire alphabet. But unfortunately, she died before she could finish Z. And her wish was it to not be ghostwritten. So her family considered those wishes and didn't write that. And I was like, that's admirable. You know, a lot of people just probably want a money grab and do the thing and just write Z, but it just wouldn't have felt complete if she didn't write the last one. So that makes a lot of sense. I get that. Everything, not everything. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. That's another book that I really want to read this summer. One Italian Summer. Let's see. What else do I want to read? There's so many books in here. So many pictures of books. Oh yeah, see, Funny Story by Emily Henry is also in here. I do want to read a Kristen Hanna book. So either The Nightingale, that's a book that I saw when I was cashing somebody else too. I think The Fourth Wind, either the Fourth Wind or because I get The Fourth Wind mixed with The Fourth Wing, and that's the different book. That's like the Rebecca Yarros series. I do have a book that I was inspired to read because when I was in public speaking last quarter, it was a book that one of our classmates was talking about, and it's The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. And I would read that. I bought that book, so I'm probably going to read it soon. And that's it. Maybe this summer, once the summer is done, I can tell you all about those books. Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm already making ideas and topics for this next quarter. And again, I hope you guys really enjoyed the small time that we had together. But it's fine because, you know, go off and take at least learn something from what I said. And you can come back and we can have a conversation and we can talk about books. We can talk about movies and TV shows and songs. We're going to do album breakdowns too. So this is really just us getting to know each other a little bit. And hopefully next quarter you'll come back. But don't worry, you'll know that I'm coming back. There's going to be flyers and everything. And since I'm the producer of the Radio DePaul podcast, you'll see a lot of those too. So if you're a DePaul student and you feel like you have a story, reach out to me and we can have a conversation. And hopefully maybe we'll have you on the podcast. So that's all that we'll have for this week. My name is Trinity Gwynn. I am the host of the Lore Love Tales. You can follow me on Instagram at Tren_MONAE. And then you can follow my YouTube and watch all the other Tuesday hours that you might have missed at, I don't know if it's an at, but my YouTube channel is Tren Universe. TREN Universe. This has been it. I'll see you guys in the fall. Bye, guys.